A lot of people know me in New Brunswick and across the Maritimes as a journalist for numerous newspapers and weeklies and dailies, but a lot of people don't know me in my regular life. I'm a proud Acadian Metis. My name is Jeffrey Joseph Corrier. I come from the small community of Graveloo, New Brunswick, which is in the heart of Acadian Metis country on the North Shore, which would be Restigouche County. Now, this podcast is in support of the efforts by the Jackie Vautour family in relation to the ongoing Koujibakwak situation. Now, for a lot of people that know this, or the people that don't, they have been fighting back against various government agencies for the expropriation of their land that made the Koujibakwak National Park more than 50 years ago. Now, Jackie had been, a lot of people say, ripped off by his land and the other people in the region taken away for the creation of the park. Now, there's been ongoing legal battles over the years, and many people have supported the cause, but a lot of people haven't. Now, recently, Mi'kmaq chiefs in New Brunswick spoke out to oppose the land claim by Jackie Vautour's family. Jackie passed away just recently, involving property within the park. Now, according to the press release, for more than 50 years, the Vautours have claimed the Acadian Metis and have the permission of Stephen Augustin, a hereditary chief of the Mi'kmaq Grand Council, to remain on the property on the province's east coast. Now, in a recent statement, the chiefs in the province say the Mi'kmaq hold title to the land that includes the park, and the rights have not been extended to the Vautour family of the Acadian Metis. The Mi'kmaq, the Metis National Council, and the Société de l'Acadie de Nouveau-Brunswick have all rejected the notion that the Acadian Metis are a distinct indigenous group. Now, this is where I have a problem with. It's okay to have an opinion, but the next line in the press release went like this. For the Vautours to continue to claim they have the right to the lands in Koujibakwak through the Mi'kmaq is wrong, and it must stop. The chiefs also say they have seen an increase in the number of individuals and groups claiming aspects of the Mi'kmaq culture in order to advance their own personal interests. They say it is a form of cultural appropriation. Well, let me put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. We have always been here. I call them Acadian Metis in the North Shore, but there's many ancestry besides the Acadian Metis have connections with Aboriginal First Nations and people of the North Shore, and also into Quebec, Maria, Listigouche, Pabineau, Eel River Crossing, Eel River Bar. Many people in my family, the majority of my family, are what you call Odette de la Pointe, who landed in northern New Brunswick around 1801. They mixed with Aboriginal people, married, had children, had extended families, which still exists today, 221 years later. Many of the points of the North Shore are Acadian Metis or have a mixture of Aboriginal blood that are not status, by the way, that celebrate that and don't look for status, don't want anything from anybody. You just want their background respected. Now, the reason why we take Jackie Vautour as a hero, because he stood up against people that said, well, you don't have the right to say you're a certain society within Aboriginal culture or a certain people because they weren't status. Just because you're not status doesn't mean you shouldn't be proud of your Aboriginal background. I've been a journalist in New Brunswick for 39 years, a little bit over 35 paid. Every place I went in the North Shore, I saw aspects of Acadian Metis or Aboriginal culture mixed with the white or the Scottish or the French culture throughout the region. There's many communities of the North Shore. You look at Restigouche West, you look at Dalhousie, you look at Campbellton, Balmoral, Charlotte, going all the way to BNPP, all the way to Batters. There's Aboriginal background in each of these communities. Now, the majority again are Acadian Metis, but again, there's some crossover with some of the Quebec reserves. Now, when the chief said that, I don't think they knew what they were saying. I don't think they were saying that out of ire. Frustrated because sometimes certain one or two individuals have done things that you really don't understand. But I want both sides to know this. It's better to reach out than be angry about a certain situation that they don't understand. Most Aboriginal non-status in the province do not seek out any special favor. Many of them do not seek out what's called the Indian card. They're not on reserve. They're happy de facto know what their background is. For years, I'm 56, I learned from my father to be proud of my Aboriginal background. I have Jewish background in my family, Scottish, different backgrounds. There's some Roma as well, going way, way back. But the majority is the Aboriginal, the Acadian Metis. Now, I'm not going to stop being proud because the chiefs are saying, well, the Vautours are doing this or doing that. That's wrong. We must get along. There should be an understanding the fact the non-status First Nations of the North Shore and the Kuchipakwack region and throughout the province are a distinct society because we're not pure Native, we're not pure First Nation, we're not pure French or English, we're a mixture. And sometimes the best meal has the most spices and the most different ingredients. Most people should know that, like me, we see our background as who we are. That you know who your grandmother was, your great-grandmother, the importance of culture, the importance of ceremony, the importance. When I used to go to Ilverbar or Pabineau or Listagush, I was so proud to say, well, I have Aboriginal background. But when I saw what happened to Jackie Vautour, he became a hero in our family. And don't forget the salmon raids in Listagush happened a number of years later. What happened in Oka? There's been certain situations that show where what he called anger, confusion has been chosen over understanding. There should be more understanding, especially for the SAA&B, and I tell you why. They should know that not all the Acadians in the province are French. They don't represent the English Acadians, and they don't try to represent the Acadian Metis. See, if more people like me came forward, and anybody listening to this, why don't you come forward and say, I'm a proud Acadian Metis? We don't have enough people coming forward and saying, we don't want nothing. We just want you to know we are here. And that's the key in this. We have always been here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to this podcast, contact your local MP, your local councillor. Encourage them to say, Acadian Metis are part of the fabric of New Brunswick. They've helped build New Brunswick. They've set up businesses. They've served in the military. They've been athletes. They've been politicians. It doesn't matter what background. When I say Acadian, by the way, there's Quebecois in there too. We got to represent that. But the pure Acadian Metis are basically in the 1700s, the 1800s, into the 1900s. The Acadians, the settlements, they crossed over with some of the First Nation people because there was a connection, either through love or community. They had a lot of people had a lot of children, and all those ancestors. You look at the phone books in the North Shore, and you see all the family names. That's all some Aboriginal blood in those families. So for them to say we're not a distinct society or a cultural group or whatever, it's incorrect. Just because you say something doesn't make it go away. You know, I don't know if, in the States they call it like red bone or whatever. Doesn't make it go away. So I'm asking for all sides of this to try to work it out. And it's okay, they can have their say, but it's time for people like us to have their say. And yes, one or two cases, that's okay. Things happen. But I ask you a question. If a journalist of 30 plus years, who's won every award for being a journalist in New Brunswick, who says he's Acadian Metis, shouldn't those Aboriginal groups be proud that someone like me, of Aboriginal descent, who's Mi'kmaq, but is not carded status, I'm non-status, shouldn't be proud of people like me saying there's Acadian Metis? Shouldn't that resonate? That's what I'm saying. If more people come forward, lawyers, doctors, housewives, whatever, basically saying we were always here. I want people to look at that and say we were always here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what I'm saying, leave a comment. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave a comment as well. But just think about it for a second. Would an Italian group say to certain Italian communities across Canada, you're not full Italian because you're not Sicilian, or you know what I'm talking about? You don't talk about that. You don't never talk about that. Why would he put it in their mind to say we're not a specific group? Of course we are. Because we're not status, we're not full Acadian, so what are we? We must be something, right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. And as we like to say in the North Shore, and I say this again, know each other, love each other, try to work it out. because all we have is today, and tomorrow is out of sight, as we like to say. Thanks for listening. Bye.